Welcome back to the FitBiz podcast. So if you listened to the episode right before this, you heard Jordan talk about why Hormozi is wrong about the value equation and why Hormozi is wrong about how to attract wealthy clients. Well, he's not entirely wrong. Jordan may have gone over that. We also teach the value equation. We also agree with the value equation. But there's a huge component of this that I feel like nobody ever talks about. How you actually attract wealthy clients, how you actually attract wealth into your life. And today, that's what I want to talk about. So today I'm going to share with you the true equation that I think is responsible for it, which is the intrinsic value equation. And so this is an equation that Jordan talked about a little bit in the prior episodes. If you haven't listened to that, go back to that one. And Alex Hormozi's version in $100 million offers is how to make the offer more valuable. But I really think what he missed, especially in the health and fitness coaching space, that people need coaches, not necessarily coaching. In a big way, they're buying you even more than they're buying your offer. So how do you make you more valuable? I think that's the best topic of conversation. That's the one thing that really sets apart coaches who have tremendous success and then those who don't. So I want to go over this equation with you today. It is 4 parts essentially that make up your intrinsic worth, or I think you could even call it your self-worth, honestly. And you're going to resonate with this. You're going to go, my God, I'm missing that piece. That's the reason. That's the reason I'm not charging. I can't charge $700, $800 a month, or that's the reason I don't have a multi-6-figure or 7-figure business. So I'm really stoked to go over this with you. So I'm going to go over the equation. And if you think about me writing it down, then I'm going to break down each piece of it. It is intrinsic worth, or replace self-worth, whichever resonates with you. Your intrinsic worth is equal to, now if this is the equation, on the top, you have your money mindset plus your persuasion power plus your impact skills. And then so divided by your action quotient. So what does all of this mean? I'm going to go over each one of these. So intrinsic worth equals money mindset, persuasion power, impact skills. Let's go over that first. What is money mindset? Well, money mindset is your attitude, your beliefs towards wealth, financial success, and personal worth. We'll dive into that a little bit more. What's persuasion power? Persuasion power is the power of communication, how you influence others. That can be in sales, marketing, your coaching interactions. What are impact skills? Well, impact skills are the tangible and intangible value that you contribute in your field. This could be both how good you are at actually coaching and also how good you are at the game of business and everything else. And then divided by the action quotient. What's that? It's the amount of intensity and relentless aptitude you have towards just taking massive, reckless action. The higher the action quotient, the less everything else matters. You notice that in the quotient, I said it's those 3 things over top of the bottom thing. Well, if the bottom number is 0, then it would be 0, right? That's math. That's how math works. So that's why action is so incredibly important. But if you have you'll notice this in people, and I'll give you some examples, but you may have high value on my money mindset. My money mindset might be solid. Persuasion might be solid. Skills might be solid. But if you don't take action, you're not going to get anywhere. So let's dive into this a little bit. Let's talk about how to increase your intrinsic worth. So first, let's talk about money mindset. More than asking the question, how do I earn more? I think you should be asking, who do I need to become? We have to first understand that in order to charge more and increase our worth, it has less to do with what do I do? So much of it is around your beliefs around money. And becoming wealthy really has very little to do with actually just putting money in your pocket. It has so much to do with what do you think around money? If you identify as a poor person, my family was poor, everybody I know was poor, maybe not poor, maybe that's not the word that resonates, but just gets by or middle class or whatever it is, then you're going to stay that way. What you believe, you will become. If you believe yourself to be wealthy, you're going to act in ways that match that identity, right? Now, I'm not just saying say it and it will become a reality. There's more things that need to unwind beyond that. But think about your clients, for example. Those who identify as being overweight, even if they lose the weight, they're going to find themselves right back to that. So an identity transformation really needs to happen. So when you shift your identity, many of the beliefs happen naturally to form that new identity. So I think what could be helpful here is just to share my story, my experience, because the truth is our money beliefs are shaped in our childhood and they just fuck us into adulthood. And if we don't recognize the stories, then we get stuck. So if I go back to my childhood and where my earliest money beliefs were formed, my parents, my earliest memories, I just remember them constantly being in a state of stress and anxiety around money. I remember them fighting about money in front of me. I remember my dad crying on multiple occasions, being afraid that we were going to lose our house. And as a child, that just wrecks your nervous system. That wrecks your sense of security and safety. And I wrapped it all up in regards to money. Not having money, you're not safe, you don't have it. It's a finite resource. In addition to that, my dad would say things like, his relationship with money was terrible. So he would say things to me like, well, you just weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth like your friend so-and-so, or, their parents are different and they have a lot of things we don't have. So, they literally ingrained to me that money is this very finite resource. If you get it, you're lucky. So hang on to it. And it caused me to show up in business and in my relationship with money in a bizarre way. I knew I always needed to make money. I knew that was the key to security. That was the key to not crying, not being afraid that you're going to lose your home, those types of things. So I did. So I really truly manifested that. And I said, all right, I'm never going to let this happen to me. But on the flip side of that, I was so deeply ingrained that money is this finite resource. Certain people have it, other people don't. We don't really, like the people who do because they're just the lucky ones, that I was so afraid to ever spend it, because for me, it was like, it only pours in one way, right? I didn't actually understand abundance, where no, money works kind of like a hose. It comes in one way, goes out the other way. If you're not letting it go out, it's going to get clogged. So in business, I hit a ceiling because I never ever would spend on labor. I would never outsource anything. I would never hire mentors. I was just so warped in my money mindset. And so eventually, I was able to recognize that. I was able to ask myself questions like, do I want the same exact life my parents have? No. So then why am I following in their exact same footsteps and using their programming? I need to change my programming. So I want to share that with you just to get you comfortable and acquainted with the idea of money mindset. That might not be your story at all. In fact, I think money mindset, you don't have to have been poor or have a poor relationship in that way. There's so many students who've come through IFCA actually have been on the opposite end of that spectrum. They grew up in really wealthy families and their families never spoke about money because their story to their children was, money's something we have, but not everybody has it. So don't talk about it because it makes people feel bad. Well, how do you think that manifests in business? Especially when you get on a sales call and you're charging what you're worth and you go to drop the price and someone says, oh wait, I can't afford that. You immediately are brought back to that childhood. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I shouldn't be talking about money. I should feel bad for having money. So just recognize that it's there and it's formed in some way from your childhood. It actually did fuck you up in some way. And it's our job as adults to unwind that. So money mindset is a big piece of that. If you don't ever get over whatever feeling that comes up for you, guilt, shame, imposter syndrome, then you're never going to move beyond what you're actually worth. Fear of rejection is another one that comes up. Imposter syndrome comes up. Guilt for oh, this is such a, I love what I do. I feel guilty for being able to do this for a living. Should I be able to even charge for it, let alone really charge for it, charge what I'm worth? Those feelings come up quite a lot and they get in our way in terms of money mindset. So money mindset's number one. Number one thing you got to work on to raise your intrinsic worth. Number two, persuasion power. I'll sum it up like this. Communication. Communication is leadership. And Colin Powell said this quote that Jordan says all the time about me. So I selfishly like it. But sometimes the best leaders get people to follow them even out of curiosity. So how do you become more persuasive? Well, you talk less, you listen more. The best way for people to get to know you is for you to get to know them. Working on skills that can lead to persuasion power, such as content and copywriting. A big mistake that I see coaches make is they make all this content. They do tons of educating. That's cool, but it's never going to persuade people. What persuades people is copy. So the difference between content and copy is content educates and it helps the viewer or the reader understand a topic. But copy and persuasion makes the viewer or listener actually feel understood. So there's a big, big difference there between listen to everything that I know and listen to how I know what's going on inside of your head. I'm listening so closely. I know you. That is when you have the ability to actually persuade. So money mindset, persuasion, and then there's impact skills. So there's a flawed assumption that people who are experts at a certain technical skill will be great at running a really successful business with that technical skill. That's a totally flawed assumption, because just because you're a good coach doesn't mean you're good with persuasion, doesn't mean you're good with sales, doesn't mean you're good with client attraction, lead gen, funnels, leadership, back-end systems, financials, the 400 things required to run a business. But maybe we go, oh, I'm good at this thing. I should start a business doing this thing. So we end up going, oh, you know what I need to focus on? Just need to be a better coach. Being a better coach will get me more clients. So we focus on the wrong skill, in my opinion. We go, oh, I need to be double, triple, quadruple certified. And if I just share with my prospects all of my certifications, they're going to go, man, you're so skilled and I want to hire you. Unfortunately, that's just not how business works. There's a lot more to it than that. Being good at what you do, being a good coach is literally just the ticket to get in the arena. Like, we actually have to know the game of business as well. So there are a lot of skills for you to have to know to how to actually have to make money. I will kind of contradict my argument a tiny bit though. I do think there are two ways to scale a business, and there are two different skills or two different ways for you to think about it. I think you can double down on your skills as a coach, and that can be your main focus, and you can just be the best. You can be the freaking best out there. I mean, if you're LeBron James, you charge whatever you want, right? That's kind of how it goes, and you get more higher paying clients. But with this approach, like, you still have to understand how to market the offer, unless you're just getting referrals like crazy. Like, you are literally the best and you're just getting referrals. In my opinion, that's the harder way to scale a business. The other way to scale a business is you get good enough as a coach and sharpen that skill set, and then you learn the game of business. So some people with the biggest businesses, me included, I was never the greatest coach. I was never the greatest practitioner. I didn't know the most about nutrition. And that doesn't matter because owning a business, that's actually just one really small part of it. What I see tends to happen though, in the coaching realm, when people go just the coaching way, they get stuck from growing the business because the Dunning-Kruger effect impacts their skills. And if you're not familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's the more that you know, the more you realize you don't know. So you'll probably resonate with this. When you first started losing weight or getting, on your fitness journey, you were so quick to tell everyone what you're doing. Oh, I just, I started doing keto. I did this. I did 75 hard. I did, whatever it was at first. I'm taking spinning classes. I'm whatever, because people were noticing results. And you were just so confident to be like, this works, do this. And then the more you research, the more you're like, well, wait, that might not work. There's contradicting evidence to that, or this didn't work for this person or whatever. And then you were like, maybe I just won't say anything because maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But then it curves. So at the very bottom, you're like, shit, I know nothing. Like, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. But then you start to see there's so many multiple perspectives and point of view. Maybe I do know some things. Maybe I have sifted through enough of it over the last couple of years. That's what happens as a coach. So we get stuck there and we go, I'm just going to be a better coach, better coach, better coach. We don't go through the Dunning-Kruger of lead generation and marketing and sales and leadership and finances and all the business stuff because we're stuck on the coach thing. So if I could give you one piece of advice when it comes to your skills, know enough to help people, read a couple chapters ahead. And if you want to make money and if you don't know why you're not making money, work on the business skills. Becoming the best coach in the world is never gonna get you where you want to be business wise. Become good enough to help people, then learn how to attract people, and then change those people's lives. Because I promise you know more than them and you know more than you think you do. So in regards to skills, I talked about how you need just enough coaching experience. So if I were to break this down in terms of a graph, in year 1 of your business, you need to know how to coach. And you should have spent most of your time up to this point knowing how to get people results. Sometimes it's not even year 1 of your business. Sometimes it's the year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, a decade before you start your business. So if you think about it, okay, if you're starting your business, then we should have the coaching foundations down. Let's think about it, 80% coaching, 20% business. In year 2, it shifts to 50% coaching, 50% business. Year 3, it's 20% coaching, 80% business. Year 4, 10% coaching, 90% business. The more you want to scale, the more you want to grow, the more you do need to learn the skills around business if you expect that business to grow. Where the coaching, you know how to get people results and you kind of just stay there and do that. And yes, you want to add different tools to your tool bag, especially if you have an ideal client that's they keep running into this problem. Say it's a hormonal issue or a gut issue or something. Yeah, go figure out how to solve that problem if you're coming up against things you can't solve. Or better yet, put an assistant coach through your team through that and let them focus on the coaching skills and you be the CEO and you focus on the entrepreneurial skills. So what are some of the impact skills? Well, I've rattled off a few of them, but you need to know how to generate leads. You need to know how to nurture leads. You need to know how to close leads. You need to know how to retain those clients, which is an art in of itself to keep you motivated for 1 or 2 years inside of a coaching relationship. You need to learn how to build effective systems. You need to learn how to hire and manage and lead people, all things necessary for building a business. When you think about skills in the business, I know it can be tricky. I want you to think about it like this. You developed the science behind weight loss, right? You really thought about that as a skill. Let me think about this. Let me think about energy balance. Let me think about how to get people results. Let me think about, holding them accountable, all of these things. Let me think about exercise programming and really hone in the skill. Sales and marketing is the same thing. I think sometimes we go, oh, I'm so good at this and I just want to help people, but sales and marketing, that's gross. I hate that. Well, the most valuable person in a company is the person who's bringing in the clients. Like if you go to a dentist office and you say, who's the most valuable person there? It's not the dentist. It's the person who brings the dentist clients. Otherwise, he can't do his job. So a little reframe for you to think about sales, marketing, all the businessy stuff, the exact same way you've thought about getting your clients results for so long. Because it really is just another science and something you need to develop if you want to make money. So shifting to, all right, what are the skills that I need as a business owner rather than just the skills that I've needed as just a coach. All right, so that's that in terms of skills. Obviously, we need skills, but oftentimes very skilled people don't make money. Why? Well, because they don't take action. To explain the formula, and action is on the bottom of all of it. So the action quotient. Well, we like to say this in our company all of the time, and it's the team that makes the most mistakes wins. We stole that from John Gooden, I believe it was. None of this means anything without action. Ideas are nothing without implementation. And I remember, like, such a good example of this. I remember when I met Jordan, he embodied everything on the top of that so well. His money mindset was so much stronger than mine. He knew he was going to be wealthy. He understood how to, like, the energy around money. He understood how to generate wealth. He was a salesperson. He had no problem having the conversations around money. His persuasion power was off the charts, still is. He has such an ability to get his point across in such a just elegant way, and really knows how to bring people on, like, from one side of an argument to another and really, like, impact them. His skills were unbelievable. His coaching skills, like, he was the most skilled practitioner that I'd really ever spoken to. And I'd worked with some really high level coaches. I was shocked when we met that he was not a highly successful online fitness coach. Why? Because he wasn't taking any action. When we met, he had so many ideas. He had notebooks of content ideas that he might create one day, or program that he might put somebody through, or something else that he could do or might do. But he wasn't throwing himself in the arena. He wasn't raising his hand and going, yeah, I'll take on a client. Yeah, I'll try this, until we met. And I really think it was just due to a little bit of lack of belief, like all the reasons, like I explained earlier, imposter syndrome, fear of rejection, guilt, shame. He just had a lot of that stuff going on, and he just wasn't taking action until he and I met, where I'm like the opposite. If you look at this pyramid, I am solid on action. And I'm not afraid to, and maybe it's because I played softball growing up and I think about life this way, but I'm not afraid to have a 300 batting average. Like, if I lose 7 out of 10 times, cool. I played 10 times, you know what I mean? And I won 3. I won 3 times more than the person who never played at all. And that's really how you have to think about business. Not every post that you make is going to land. Not everything that you say is going to work. Not every idea that you come up with are you going to see, like, all the way to fruition. But action all day long is how you have to just kind of roll with the punches in business and how you see success. You know, when you think of the most successful entrepreneurs out there, Google them and Google, like, what were all of their failures before their major success. I think we think, you know, we just pay attention to what's going well. And some of us are just so afraid to fail that we don't even try in the first place. So if there's one takeaway here, I want you to realize that nothing matters unless you're actually doing it. And doing it is what raises confidence anyway, because you are going to have some wins, and you have to have wins. Like, it's called the winning effect. You have to have wins to then have more wins, to then have confidence, to have past evidence to go, you know what, this is working. And you'll have some failures, and the failures will knock down your confidence a little bit too. But if you take the person who's never done anything, who's 0 over 0, versus, like, my example earlier where I'm 3 over 10, the person who's 3 over 10 is actually going to be a lot more confident than the person who is 0 over 0 or 1 over 1 or 2 over 2. Because you have 3 pieces of evidence that it's worked. Like, that really does help negate the 7 pieces of evidence otherwise. So imagine what happens when you just keep compounding. You have 100, you have 1,000. That means you have 300 winners. So anyway, guys, I hope this is helpful. If you're looking at people, other coaches going, man, I don't get it. What do they have that I don't have? Why did they have a super successful business? This is why. This is the equation for their intrinsic worth. This is what works. They value themselves more than you value yourself. And this is how they do it, through money mindset, through their persuasion, through their skills, and through their action. So I hope this was helpful. I would encourage you to do a little audit of your own intrinsic worth and see where you might be falling short, and then work on that. Work on that consistently, get the reps in, and I cannot wait to see where you are 6 months from now. And if you want any help with any of that, we can absolutely help you with that within IFCA. So the persuasion power, 1,000%, like we have all of the sales scripts. We have all of the DM scripts. We have all the content scripts. We have like everything that you need in terms of like copy and content and like how to be more persuasive. The skills, that's also where we've got you. So if you're looking at this and you're going, my money mindset's not bad. I'll take action, but I don't know what to take action on. Then IFCA would be an absolutely great fit for you. I'd encourage you to click the link in the show notes. Just go to impactfitnesscoachingacademy.com or impactcoachacademy.com and just schedule a free, no obligation strategy call with our team. We'd love to see where the gaps are and see where we could help you fill some of those. And then if it feels right, move forward together in a coaching relationship and have you just feel more confident in what you're doing and get results like our students have, proven results that we've gotten for 3,000 other fitness coaches. So anyway, I'll hop off the soapbox now. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, wherever you're listening, in the car, in the shower, whatever. And I'll talk to you next time.